Hey everybody, John with Vermont Homesteader, and today, I know I did a video just the other day on cheese. That was a 3-gallon cheese, and today I'm going to do a 6-gallon cheese with these 2 stock pots, and a lot of it is the same, but I'm going to take us all through it again with 6 gallons and the right amount of mesophilic culture and the right amount of rennet. And this time we're going to make a cheddar dill. I've made cheddar garlic onion, I've made cheddar garlic onion dill, and I've made regular cheddar. And this one's just going to be a cheddar dill, which I've never actually done before, but it's the same process as the other cheeses. So we're going to start by filling our stock pots with the 6 gallons of milk. This is all raw organic milk from the Tabor Ranch in Randolph Center. I kind of started off with a disaster today. I was taking a lid off a jar and I clanked it against another jar and it broke. And I ended up with a half gallon of milk all over the floor. So that's how this started. Let's hope it goes better the rest of the process. We're gonna get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jars in this one, and this is the smaller stock pot, and it just barely fits. And I just happen to have an extra jar of milk that I was going to keep here at the house for like cereal and stuff like that, so I still have my 6 gallons. I'll just have to pay them for a jar of milk and use the house milk for today and get a new one tomorrow. So once we get these pots going, we're going to get them up, like last time, up to 90 degrees. And once they get to 90 degrees, we'll put the mesophilic culture in the pots. So I will be back once we get these pots to 90 degrees and I'm ready. So we have both stock pots up to 90 degrees. And it's time to put in the mesophilic culture. I just go on eBay or Amazon and get mesophilic culture for cheddar, and that's what I use. Each one of these packets is good for 3 to 4 gallons of milk, and we have 3 gallons of milk in each pot. So you just sprinkle it in. And then what we're going to do is give it a good stir, both of them, because you want to distribute this culture throughout the milk, because this is what's going to make it become cheese. The rennet coagulates it, and the culture turns it into cheddar cheese. So we want it all throughout the milk. We want to stir it back and forth, around, side to side, from the bottom up. Just get it mixed real good in there. And then we're going to put the covers on these and let them sit for 45 minutes. Let that culture just settle into the milk all over the place. see you back. Hey, so it's been 45 minutes and I'm back here to get the rennet in here. Last 45 minutes we've been cleaning jars, and we had some dill in the fridge that we actually bought from the store, organic dill, and I put it in the dehydrator. Don't let anything go to waste. So we're just going to give these a stir. We're going to check the temp. See if we're still at 90. We're a little, no, we're right at 90. And that one's right at 90. Okay, so that's good. So what we're going to do now is take 1 teaspoon of liquid animal rennet, 1 per pot. You just want to spread it around in here a little bit. Okay, now we're going to give these a good stir. And you really want to mix it well. Stir from the bottom up, round one way, around the other way, back and forth, from the bottom up again. Just mix it really well. The rennet is what's going to coagulate the milk. It's going to turn it into curds. And after about 45 minutes, it'll have the consistency of jello or pudding. I did take a look. The mesophilic culture is a mesophilic culture made for cheddar, and it's made by the Cheese Connection LLC, which is out of Tomahawk, Wisconsin. This one stirred up, and then they're going to sit for 45 minutes uncovered with no disruption. Hey everybody, so I'm back. It's been 45 minutes. I don't know. Let's get this camera over here. So that is our stock pot, one of our stock pots. And if you look, I can slice it just like pudding. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Slice it. You want to get it into little squares. So we're going to slice it one way. And then we'll slice it across. So this cheese, this milk, has now been turned into curds and whey. Curds and whey. Curds are all the solid stuff, and what's left behind is whey. Whey can be used for cottage cheese, but I don't usually make cottage cheese, so I put it on my garden because it's full of nutrients. And I'll put it on some plants tomorrow. Maybe my garlic. same thing to this one over here. And when we get done cutting up the curd, we're going to turn the heat back on. We're going to heat it to 100 degrees. And we're going to stir it for 20 minutes. Back and forth between both pots. And that will form round curds that look a lot like cheese curd that you put in, puts in, and cut. It is cheese curd that you put in, puts in. It's just not dried yet. We're going to get a thermometer back in here. These are, that one's at 89. This one, that one's at 88. So yeah, you just take your spoon and you just start stirring. And if you find some long strips of curd, because we weren't able to cut it up all the way down at the bottom, you just cut them with your spoon, stir them, because you want to get them in the little like half-inch squares eventually, or less, because that'll help get the whey out of the curd and get us a little bit closer to making a cheese. So I'll see y'all in 15-20 minutes after I've stirred these two pots, and we're ready to then squeeze the whey out of the curds with some cheesecloth. So now we've got these really nice looking curds. I don't know if you can see them. There you go. Those are cheese curds. We're just going to scoop them out of here with this big ladle. And you can squeeze them a little over the pot if you want. Or you can just put them in the cheesecloth and squeeze them through the cheesecloth. But the key is to get as much curd, as much whey out of the curd as possible by squeezing it in the cheesecloth. We want to get it as dry as we can so that we can then put it in a cheese press, which I have in the dining room. And once I get this, all this whey squeezed out of here, we'll move to the dining room where we'll add the dill, a little salt, and then we'll put it in the press and leave it overnight. You really want to work this over with the cheesecloth, because you really want to get as much fluid out as you can. I mean, the cheese press is going to get a ton out as well, but you want to help it out a little bit through this process. Get it almost looks like dough, like you're gonna make bread, but this is all cheese curd. We're just gonna keep doing this until all this curd has the whey squeezed out of it, and then I'll get. Okay, so we got a big bowl of cheese curd here. And we're just going to take my hands and try and scrunch it up a little bit. Break up those big balls of cheese curd that we had. This is our own dill. And boy, it smells so much better than that store-bought dill. Just gonna mix it in. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I never measure it. I just put it in until I think there's enough and call it good. I think in this first layer, we're probably good. I can't get all the way down mixing it up. There's too much curd here. Want, you can just eat it right out of the bowl. I think it tastes better afterwards. After it's aged, because really it just tastes like cheese curds now. It doesn't taste like cheddar cheese at all. I'm going to keep adding some dill into the cheese curd and putting it in our cheese mold or our cheese press, whatever you'd like to call it. This is looking pretty good now. We're almost there. Gotta add a little bit more. It all depends on how much you like dill. We love dill. We make a wicked dill potato salad, or I should say Sarah does. I'm more the burger guy. I make the burgers, she makes the potato salad. That should do it. So we're gonna put this in here. Add the press to it with the plate. We're going to get it in here. And this, you're going to see when I flip this tomorrow, how much bigger this one is than the one we made last week. It all depends on what size cheeses you want to make. I think I'm going to stick with 6 gallons from now on. If I use my little cheese press, which makes little ones, which I probably won't much, if at all, because I don't like the little ones. I don't like the little cheese press because the amount of the edge of the cheese that you have to take off to get the mold off makes it so that you don't have much cheese left over. Whereas when you make these big 6-gallon cheeses, there's a lot of cheese left over. So I push this down until the fluid starts to pop up over the press, over the disc that's actually pressing the cheese. And then I'll stop. And I'll probably stay up a little bit longer, and I'll give it a couple more twists before I go to bed. And it's just going to sit here overnight for 8-10 hours, and then I'm going to take it, pull it out, flip it over, and we're going to press it again for another 8-10 hours. And then it's got to go down the basement to dry for 5 days or so. And then we'll wrap it, and it sits down there for 3 months. So the other cheese I made last week is getting pretty close to being ready to wrap. And I'll do a video on wrapping the cheese. And I'll probably also do a video when I wrap this one. And then when I crack one of those big ones open, I'll do a video of unwrapping it and slicing off the mold on the outside of the cheese and the edible part that you're left with. And we love our cheddar cheese. It's great stuff. You let it age for 3 months or more. I haven't tried anything 6 months yet. I really want to get there. But the 3-month stuff is really good. This is Vermont Homesteader. If you like this video and other videos like this, like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you next time. It's the next morning, and we're gonna basically pull this cheese out and just flip it around. Squeeze some more whey out of it. Sometimes the whey gets on top of the press. That's okay. Turn the pot upside down. It's actually at my fingertips. I'm trying not to drop it in all the way. Okay. What we have is a big block of cheddar dill. It's not cheddar yet, not until it sits down in the basement for 3 months. You can see all that beautiful green dill in there. It smells so good. And we're just going to press it again. Press it again all day, and then tonight before I go to bed I'll take it out and I'll put it downstairs to start the drying process. Get it to where some whey is coming out of the spout, and then throughout the day I'll just give it a couple cranks, try and squeeze more whey out of it. looks like I got a lot of whey out of it yesterday because there's nothing coming out yet. Though it is starting to bubble over the top of the press. I think we got the bulk of the whey out, but we're still going to press it for the day. It also compresses the curds and makes it a more solid cheese. I don't know if you noticed when I took it out the first time, some of the edges had broken off. Well, this will help solidify it so that it'll be a firm cheese and it won't fall apart on us and become a bunch of curds again. And when I take it out tonight, I'll see that. So the end of the cheese making process is to wrap it. And so the cloth I use to strain the curds, it's almost like one of the old cloth baby diapers. It's that kind of cheesecloth. But this cheesecloth, you can see through it. It's what most people would consider cheesecloth. And this is what we're going to wrap it with. You just got to open it up here. And this one is kind of thin. This is the 3-pound cheese. Usually I would put a disc of cheesecloth on each side and then I would roll the edge with cheesecloth. But these are so thin that you can get away with just putting one on each flat side and wrapping it over so that you get the edges. So you just lay it on here. Cut across and then just wrap it. And you've got the whole cheese covered with just one piece. Like I said, usually on the bigger ones, I'll do a circular piece on one side, a circular piece on the other side, and then I'll put a strip around the edge. And then today I just melted some butter. You can also use olive oil or pretty much any oil you want. I usually just use butter. This is a paintbrush. Obviously, never been in paint before. Got it specifically for this, but you could use a basting brush or any type of brush. And then you just basically paint it. Most of the time I only have to do one coat, but sometimes it looks like the cheese might be starting to dry out, so dry out too much. So I'll coat it again. And like I said, you're gonna see mold on the outside of the cheese. That's okay, because when we're all done, when we unwrap it, and I'll do a video on unwrapping it, we cut all that off. That's why I like to make a really big cheese instead of a small cheese, because you cut off the edges. Yep, and we're gonna make a mess on the table. Gonna need soap and water to clean it up. Let me just paint this cheesecloth right on so it's nice and flat, and so that all parts of the cheese are covered. What this is going to do is it's going to make sure it doesn't dry out too much, and it's also going to give it a casing, which some cheeses you'll see with. Some people use a rubber casing, not rubber, I guess it's wax casing. They actually melt wax and they dip the cheese in the wax, and that is one way of doing it. I guess if it was organic, natural beeswax, that would be fine. That would probably be my second choice of a method. Some people do this with whatever oil they choose to use. And then some people don't do anything. They just put the cheese downstairs and leave it. But I find that is going to dry the cheese out too much. And when you go to clean it up on the edges, you're going to end up with just this brittle mess that isn't really much of a cheese. And some people vacuum seal. Now, vacuum sealing, if you vacuum seal, that's fine, though the cheese will taste different. You'll get a different flavor by vacuum sealing. But if you don't get all the air out, that thing is going to mold so bad you can't even use it. So I try not to vacuum seal. Not my main choice. A lot of people love it because you can vacuum seal it and then just throw it in the fridge and forget about it for 3 to 6 months. When you do this, when you naturally create a rind, I need to go down and flip this every day till I do it every day for 3 to 6 months. Like I said, my longest one's been 3 months so far. But and if I miss a day after the first couple weeks, that's fine. But I'll go down and flip this. So you got to tend to it some. But what does it take a second? You're going down to do the laundry anyway or something else, and you just go down and flip it. And that's it. It's got its casing. We're going to put it back downstairs, and we're going to leave it for at least 3 months, and then we'll crack it open. So now that I've cleaned up from our cheese making today, I just wanted to talk to you about the cheese making a little bit and tell you not to stress. If you follow the steps, you take the either 3 or 6 gallons and you put it in the stock pot, get it up to 90 degrees, put it in the packet of mesophilic cheddar culture, and then you let it sit for 45 minutes, and you make sure it's still at 90 degrees. If it's not still at 90 degrees, just give it a little heat and let it get up to 90 degrees. And then you put the 1 teaspoon of rennet for every 3 to 4 gallons, and then you just let it sit, and in 45 minutes you'll have curd. You cut your curd, you strain your curd, and then you put your curd in the cheese press, and you press it twice for 8 to 12 hours each time, and then it goes down the basement for probably 4 or 5 days. Some people do as little as 3, some people do as many as 7. But 4 or 5 days is pretty normal. What you want is you want to see the cheese's color change. It'll get a little darker, and you can see that the edges of the cheese are drying. And you just want to get the edges of the cheese dry to some extent. And then you bring it upstairs and you line it with cheesecloth, and then you paint it with oil, whether it be olive oil or canola oil or whatever oil you desire, or butter. I just use butter usually. And then you put it back down on a rack in the cool basement. The ideal humidity is like 70%. I don't have that in my basement. My humidity is like 40 something, 50 something percent. And my cheese comes out fine. So I guess take that with a grain of salt. The ideal temperature is in the upper 40s or low 50s, right around 50 degrees. And my basement does stay right around that temperature. And I think that's more important, is the temperature than the high humidity. But my point was to start this was, don't stress. Just try it. Just have fun with it. Make a plain cheddar, make a cheddar dill, make a cheddar garlic, a cheddar onion. And if you use garlic or onion, you can use powder and just grind it in like I did the dill. Or you can actually chop up, get it minced really good, and then put it throughout the curd before you press it. I actually didn't use salt in either one of these cheeses I made, but a teaspoon of salt for every 3 gallon cheese some people like that. I just don't use a lot of salt. Sometimes I put it in, sometimes I don't put it in. Some people say it's needed for the preservation process. I haven't found that. But just experiment with it. And I know it's a long wait. Nobody wants to wait 3 months to cut into their cheese that they made, but it tastes so much better after 3 months versus a month. It just isn't very sharp at a month. It's pretty sharp at 3 months. I can only imagine what it would be at 6 months or even a year. But just play with it. Have fun. Don't stress. You're making your own food. Sooner or later I'll have enough blocks that I'll be able to shred it, just cut it up into wedges if you want to snack on it. Anything you want to do with cheese, and you won't have to go to the store. You'll go to some place like the Tabor Ranch in Randolph Center, where they have the unpasteurized raw milk. I keep calling it organic. I'm not really sure if they're certified organic. When I do an interview with them, we'll find out. But if it's not certified organic, it's as close to organic as you're going to get. And it's never been heated up to whatever they do, 160 or 180 degrees to pasteurize it, which kills the bacteria. You want that bacteria to make cheese. It helps with the cheese making process. So you can use store-bought milk to do this, but if you know somebody that sells raw milk, I would highly advise to go get it, because I think you'll just be happier with the cheese product that you make. And the Tabor Ranch, just to put a plug in for them, they sell chickens, they sell turkeys, they have eggs, they have a garden that they sell like garlic. I'm not sure what else they sell. Again, when I do the interview, we'll find out. But they also have books on cheese making and on other topics, reference homesteading, gardening. They sell beef. So there's got to be some place like that around you, wherever you are, where you can get more natural products that haven't stood still in a slot in some factory for its whole life and been pumped full of antibiotics and growth hormone or whatever else they put in our store-bought food today. You'll feel better. Your body will respond to it better. You'll have less sugar and weight problems if you can get away from processed foods and eat as naturally as you can. And speaking about that, just to put a plug in for myself here, I've lost 13 pounds since the winter. I plan on losing another 10. I want to get down somewhere between 160 and 165, which isn't bad for my height. And the number one thing in being prepared is your fitness. And everything I do here is geared towards improving not only my fitness, but my family's fitness, my family's food security, their health, because what you get from processed food, to me, my opinion, is garbage. Just look at the ingredients list. Turn something over and read it. All the preservatives, all the things that have a number. You don't even really know what it is. Just take a look at that stuff, and you'll learn quickly that you're being fed garbage, stuff that is not very nutritious for you, stuff that your body doesn't respond well to over time. God gave us everything that we need in food out here in creation. He gave us the animals to have dominion over and to use to help us survive, and that's what I do here. I use those things, and I try and eat as healthy as possible now. And I didn't used to. I ate, mac and cheese all the time, and I just ate junk. I ate junk, boxed food, box produced food. Preparing your own food takes time.
that's the one thing. The time is a killer. You're racing against time because we're all busy. We all have jobs. We all have kids. A lot of us have kids, and so there's a lot of things going on. And you're racing against time when you prepare your own food. But it'll be very, very rewarding in the end when you crack open that cheese and you cut off the rind and you clean it up and you look at the product you have left over and then you slice into it and taste it. You're going to be like, wow, I've been missing out. So if you like this video and the other videos I have on the channel, like, subscribe, and share. Spread the word. Come back for another video, and I'll be bringing some more to you very soon. Have a great day.